Hello everyone, welcome back to AutoTrendTV. I'm your Prajesh again from Ambal Auto Maruti Suzuki showroom in Coimbatore today, and I'm here with the brand new 2021 facelifted Maruti Suzuki Swift ZXi Plus AMT top spec variant. The Maruti Suzuki Swift is a well-known name across the country, and this third generation Maruti Suzuki Swift was introduced a couple years ago. Now this year is a midlife facelift of the 2021 model, which aims to make the Swift slightly more premium than before by offering more features and mainly more performance. So now let's get into the review of this 2021 ZXi Plus AMT model. Talking about the exterior design, nothing much has been changed in terms of overall looks and dimensions. However, this 2021 midlife facelift gets a few subtle updates on the front of the car to help differentiate between the pre-facelift and the facelifted Swift. The first thing you can see that this ZXi Plus top spec variant gets all LED headlamps with LED DRLs. However, the fog lamps are regular halogen units. The most significant update, however, is the grille pattern, which now gets a honeycomb mesh-like design, while also having a chrome beam running across the width, dividing the front grille into two equal halves. While this fire red color is available across all variants, a dual-tone midnight black contrast roof option is available only on the top-spec ZXi Plus variant. That said, this 2021 Swift looks really stunning in this dual-tone color scheme, and the black color is carried forward to the ORVMs as well. Just like the pre-facelift model, the ZXi and the ZXi Plus variants of the Swift get 15-inch alloy wheels as standard. However, this dual-tone alloy wheel option is available only for the top-spec ZXi Plus variants. Moving towards the back, you cannot see any significant change when you compare with the pre-facelift model. That's because everything from the C-shaped LED tail lamps, the tailgate and the bumper design remain exactly the same as before. That said, this rear fascia of the Swift easily reminds us of the Volkswagen Polo when it comes to the tail light design and the tailgate shape itself. Talking about the rear bumper, 4 reverse parking sensors are available as standard from the entry-level LXi variant itself. However, only on the top-spec ZXi and the ZXi Plus variants, a reverse parking camera is available mounted in the number plate housing on the rear bumper. And yes, similarly, a rear windshield wiper washer and defogger are available only on the top-spec ZXi and the ZXi Plus variants. In order to provide a coupe-like 3-door look for the Swift, just like before, the rear door handles are integrated into the C-pillar, blending into the contrast black roof. So that was all about the updates on the exterior of the 2021 facelift Maruti Suzuki Swift. Let's now get inside this car to check out the features.
Yes folks, I'm right now inside the brand new facelifted 2021 Maruti Suzuki Swift ZXi Plus AMT top spec variant. This here is the AMT automated gearbox equipped variant of the top spec ZXi Plus variant of the Maruti Suzuki Swift. So in terms of features, this is exactly the same as the regular manual ZXi Plus variant of the Swift. Now talking about the features, well, before we talk about the features, let's quickly have a look at the design of the interior. As you can see, the interior remains exactly the same as the pre-facelifted model in terms of overall design and layout. However, there have been certain subtle changes to the materials and the color combination. You get this faux metal trim on the dashboard now, and there is a lot more black on the inside to add to the premium feel. Now this here is the signature flat bottom steering wheel of the Maruti Suzuki brand. This steering wheel is seen on the Swift, the Desire, the Ertiga and even the latest XL6. So this is a very familiar steering wheel, which also gets cruise control exclusively on the top spec ZXi Plus and the ZXi Plus AMT variants of the Maruti Suzuki Swift. So this looks much more premium than before. And another feature addition includes automatic headlamps for the LED headlamps available on the top spec ZXi Plus variants of the Swift. Apart from that, everything else remains exactly the same. You get Bluetooth telephony controls over here, lower down, and you also get steering mounted audio controls with a mute button over there. You don't get automatic wipers though, which is completely fine for such a compact hatchback. Another key addition to the Swift's equipment list is this MID. This here is a full TFT color MID. Turning that on by pressing this button. So this is how the TFT MID looks like. The red backlit MID is standard from the entry-level variant itself. However, this TFT color display at the center is exclusive only for the top spec ZXi Plus and the ZXi Plus AMT variants. Controlling this MID using these buttons over here is pretty easy. This in fact is the Swift version of the MID seen on the Baleno and the Ciaz as well. So this is nothing different. This also gets power and torque meters. There is a gear indicator lower down over there. There is the time, external temperature, and there is the typical trip meter over there lower down. There is also a graph for the acceleration and brake, and there's also a blank screen. You also get instantaneous efficiency, average fuel economy, and distance to empty range as well. So this is a pretty well loaded TFT instrument cluster on the top spec variant of the Swift. You also get two trip meters, trip meter A and trip meter B. Now apart from this MID, everything else remains exactly the same. You get the very same 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Smart Play available on the ZXi Plus variants of the Swift, be it the manual or the AMT. So this system is a very intuitive system. It is more convenient to use, and it also gives you low fuel warning as well. This has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard, and you also get a reverse parking camera. So this is how the reverse parking camera display looks like. It may not be the best in terms of overall quality or clarity, but still it provides you a wide angle of monitoring, which is going to be pretty safe, paired with the 4 reverse parking sensors. So that is quite good. Coming lower down, you get to see this automatic climate control console, which is available on the top spec ZXi Plus variant of the Maruti Suzuki Swift. Now turning this on is pretty easy. The operation is also very easy. So this here is the fan speed controller, and on the inside of this rotary knob itself you get the front windshield defogger and the rear windshield defogger as well. And over here at the center is the display for the automatic climate control, which itself is pretty compact and very bright. It is a white on black display, so it is very easily visible as well. You also get modes for the directional flow adjustment. You get the flow for your face, your legs, the windshield, and so on. You get to control using this button over there. And this here is the turning off button. And this here is the button to turn off internal or external recirculation. So that is also pretty good. Despite turning off the automatic climate control, you still get the display. And this here is the control to turn on or off the air conditioning. And this here on the right side is the rotary knob for the temperature control. So it is a pretty easy to use, very friendly automatic climate control console. This is pretty good, and it is available only on the top spec ZXi Plus and the ZXi Plus AMT variants of the new Maruti Suzuki Swift. Coming lower down to that, everything else remains exactly the same as the pre-facelift model. You get the 12-volt charging socket over here with a very robust lid over there, and you also get this USB and aux ports for the touchscreen infotainment system. There are a couple cup holders over here for you to store your cups or small items, maybe even the car's key. This here is the Maruti Suzuki Swift ZXi Plus variant's key. Both of them are identical, and you don't get a manual key just for emergency sake. So this is pretty good in terms of convenience. However, you also have an integrated manual key inside this smart key itself for emergency purpose, which is quite okay. And you can also see that these keys get a blue background behind the Suzuki logo on the back side, which is quite premium to look at. That is quite nice. You can just place the key over there. Now talking about this 5-speed AMT gear lever, this is exactly the same AMT gearbox seen on the Ignis, the Swift, and even the Desire. So no difference whatsoever. This here is a very smooth AMT transmission. mated to the 1.2 liter K series 4-cylinder petrol engine. This petrol engine, however, is a dual jet petrol engine from the Suzuki range, which produces 90 PS of maximum power, which is more than before, and it also gets a few new features. Those new features actually include auto engine start stop. So this here is the auto engine start stop button. You can turn it off or on depending on your preference. What this does is basically turn off the engine every time you stop the car, and just depressing the clutch will automatically start the engine. This aids fuel efficiency, improves fuel efficiency while reducing fuel consumption. So that is pretty good and very useful for city usage. And this car also gets ESP with traction control and hill hold as standard only on the top spec ZXi Plus variants with this AMT transmission as well. So this is an addition in terms of safety features over the regular Maruti Suzuki Swift. However, the lower variants do not get these features, which is completely fine. Now, talking about other convenience and practicality features of the Maruti Suzuki Swift, you get tilt adjustment for the steering wheel, and you can see that the steering wheel itself is wrapped in this beautiful leather finish on the ZXi and the ZXi Plus variants as well. Now, talking about storage spaces, you get this medium sized glove box, which is not very large, but still it is completely fine in terms of capacity. There is no center armrest even on this top spec variant, which is completely fine though. This handbrake lever is very good to hold, and it also gets a chrome tip on the top spec variants. And you also get this cup holder behind the handbrake lever for storing your water bottles for the rear seat passengers. Talking about these seats, they have received some update in terms of design and comfort. These are sporty looking seats with large side bolstering and large frontal bolstering as well. So they are extremely comfortable while also being very, very soft and cushy. They can properly hold you in case you decide to drive your Swift very, very aggressively and sportily. So that is quite nice. This being the top spec ZXi Plus variant, you get front and rear adjustable headrests as standard, along with 60-40 split folding function for the rear seat. We'll talk about the rear seats later. Talking about the safety features available on the Maruti Suzuki Swift, from the entry-level LXi variant itself, the Swift receives dual airbags, ABS with EBD, along with ISOFIX child seat mounts and 4 reverse parking sensors as standard. So the Swift is well loaded in terms of safety features from the entry-level variant itself. That is pretty good. And talking about other daily convenience things, you get all 4 power windows from the VXi variant itself, with the top spec ZXi and the ZXi Plus variants getting one touch down and one touch up function as well for the driver window. So that is pretty good. And both these ZXi and ZXi Plus variants also get auto folding ORVMs. So that is also very good in terms of convenience. These door handles are finished in chrome on the top spec variants alone. Well, apart from that, the Maruti Suzuki Swift gets a day-night manual adjustable IRVM as standard from the entry-level variant itself. So that is also pretty good in terms of convenience and safety while driving at night. Coming towards the roof, the sun visors are of pretty standard quality with standard size as well, and the passenger side sun visor also gets a vanity mirror. And there is this regular interior cabin light, which is yellow in color. However, there is no dome light for the rear seat passengers, which is quite a missing point, but still it is completely fine. And oh yes, the top spec variants of the Maruti Suzuki Swift from the VXi variant itself gets driver seat height adjustment as standard, which is going to be a very, very good boon for all kinds of drivers in the Indian market. So that was all about the cabin and features of the Maruti Suzuki Swift. Let's just get to the back seat.
To get into the rear seats of the Maruti Suzuki Swift Facelift, the door handle is located right next to the window, which some people may like, some people may not. So let me just get settled in and close the door.
Yes folks, I'm right now in the back seat of the brand new facelifted Maruti Suzuki Swift ZXi Plus AMT top spec variant. Now this being the top spec variant, the additional features including the full color TFT instrument cluster, cruise control and this touchscreen system add to the premium factor of the Swift's cabin, despite the overall cabin quality being just about average in terms of plastics. Now talking about the rear seats, they have been always decently comfortable. There is not an abundance of space. My height is 5'11" for reference, and I have adjusted the driver seat for my height. Despite that, The legroom is just about decent and the comfort is pretty decent as well. The thigh support may be slightly lacking, but still it is decently comfortable for anyone shorter than me, so that is quite good. And being the top spec variants, 4 adjustable headrests are standard, and that is pretty good in terms of safety. You get 4 3-point seat belts as standard as well, along with ISOFIX child seat mounts from the entry-level LXI variant itself. So that is pretty good attention to safety. Now, talking about other small missing points, you don't get a cabin lamp for the rear seat passengers, which is quite a bummer. There is only one single yellow cabin lamp for the front seats, but nothing for the rear seats. And apart from that, you may have already seen the fabric finish on the door armrest on the front doors, but there is no fabric padding or any soft touch material on the rear doors, which is quite a missing point for the rear seat passengers. And there is also the missing silver finish, which is available on the front doors as well. So I don't know why Maruti Suzuki has done this, but it is completely alright. It's just slight cost cutting, probably. It is okay. And the window size may not be that large, but it is completely fine for adults. However, children may not get a complete wide view outside, so that is also fine. So that was all about the rear seat comfort and convenience of the Maruti Suzuki Swift Facelift ZXi Plus AMT. Now let's just take a look at the boot.
Opening the boot of the 2021 facelift Maruti Suzuki Swift ZXi Plus AMT variant, the boot space capacity remains exactly the same across all variants at 268 liters, which is pretty much at par with rivals in this category. The overall shape is very square and user-friendly. However, the loading lip is pretty high, which means loading and unloading heavy luggage is not going to be very easy. That said, in case you want to improve the luggage space, the Maruti Suzuki Swift top spec variants provide 60-40 split folding function for the rear seats, which significantly improves the flexibility and loading options in this car. Both seats can be completely folded flat by pulling this tag on the shoulder, and here we go. Well, it may not be a completely flat loading bay, there is a significant bit of ridge, but still, after removing the parcel tray, pretty large stuff can be easily loaded into the Swift through the open tailgate. On the left side of the boot, there is a yellow boot lamp, beside which there is a bag hook for your shopping. However, on the right side of the boot, there is no hook, and instead there is this storage compartment for the car's jack and other tools. That is pretty good packaging. And under the boot floor is a 14-inch steel space saver spare wheel, which is standard across all variants of the Maruti Suzuki Swift. That's because the lower variants provide 14-inch wheels as standard. So that was all about the luggage capacity and flexibility options on the Maruti Suzuki Swift Facelift ZXi Plus variant. Let's take a look at the engine bay. Opening the rather lightweight hood of the 2021 facelifted Maruti Suzuki Swift, you will get to see a familiar looking engine. But no, this here instead is a brand new 1.2 litre K-series dual jet VVT petrol engine, producing 90 PS of maximum power and 130 Nm of maximum torque through either a 5-speed manual transmission or a 5-speed AMT gearbox. This engine is already seen under the bonnet of the Baleno and the new facelifted Desire. And the main factor is that this engine provides more power than the previous 83 PS engine, which combined with this lightweight Maruti Suzuki Swift is going to be incredibly peppy. And oh yes, this engine being an updated one is even more smoother than before, while also offering better economy than before. So that was all about the brand new dual jet VVT engine of the Swift.
Let's now talk about the pricing of this Swift.
So that was all about the brand new 2021 facelifted Maruti Suzuki Swift ZXi Plus AMT variant. The Swift is already India's favorite compact hatchback, and with this facelift updates and the additional features, Maruti Suzuki has made it even more tempting while also making it more powerful than before. And yes, with increasing fuel costs and the lack of a diesel engine option in the Maruti Suzuki portfolio, this new Swift aims to provide diesel-like fuel economy with both the manual and the AMT variants, delivering more than 23 km per litre. Adding to the temptation, Maruti Suzuki is also providing special IPL season offers for all of its cars. And the 2021 Swift is also available with a total consumer offer of up to Rs 48,100, which is just going to make the deal even sweeter. Finally, summing all the things up, the Maruti Suzuki Swift facelift seems like a really good family hatchback, which is more peppier, more economical and more feature loaded than before, and can also be adequately safe if driven within safe limits. So do let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about this 2021 facelifted Maruti Suzuki Swift. Meanwhile, this is Viprajesh signing off. See you on another video. Thank you for watching.